Ladies and gents, welcome back to AusGamers. You are here once again with Stephen Farrelly out at San Francisco GDC, but we also saw something a little bit secret, The Secret World. We're here with Joel, we've spoken to before. Joel, you guys are on the home stretch, June. What's left for you guys in terms of getting the game out there?
I mean, pretty much at this stage we're sort of done with all the major systems. It's just polish, balance, beta feedback, so forth moving forward. So it's coming together really well. Seeing everything gel is a very nice stage of development. So yeah, it's just a matter of polishing things now, getting it nice and shiny for the consumer. How
has the beta feedback been?
Very good. Lots of things that we've received from the beta guys have made us change systems in the game. So we've done a lot of sort of overhauls of different parts of the game to sort of accommodate beta feedback, and it's improved the game immensely. So it's been good. People really love the game. 9 out of 10 people who play the beta say that they would buy it or recommend it to a friend to buy as well. So we're very happy with that. But yeah, it's going really well. So.
Well, I mean, I just played it then. That was the first time I'd gotten hands-on with it, and it's awesome. Like, I can't wait to actually get stuck into it. You probably answered this question for me at Gamescom, but I can't remember the answer. What's the server situation globally?
Yeah, we have our major server park is in New York, and I think that's what we have for now. And there's ongoing discussions about what we're doing with Oceania and things like that. I guess that's why you're targeting the question that way. Yeah. There's ongoing discussions as far as I know with like people like Big Pond, Telstra, and things like that. So I don't really know where we're at with it, but it has been discussed at least.
Because being an expat, that we need oceanic servers.
Yes, I know, and I'm aware that other companies have started to do that as well. So it's been a discussion internally.
Speaking of which. Have you guys, obviously you've had your head down working on this game, but a lot has happened in the MMO space while you guys have been working on this. Have you guys been looking at what the competition is doing, and are you finding things that you go, you know what, like, even though that's what they're doing, that would work really well with us?
Yeah, I think Ragnar has a very clear vision for the game, like what he wanted. Martin has a very clear vision for the systems of the game, and for the content we've been making it sort of fit with all the vision, sort of making it all work well together to make a really nice package. I've seen a lot of the competition, and it's quite funny because I feel like a lot of those guys arrived at the same conclusion as we arrived at when we started to work on this game. So it's kind of fun to see that this period now, if you want it's a buzzword, but the next gen of MMOs that is coming out throughout this year, people are moving towards this action combat style, people are moving towards this movement during combat, people are focused on, allowing people to avoid attacks during combat, and, really sort of allowing people to slip out of traditional class roles and allow them to sort of expand upon their character. So it's kind of interesting. We made these decisions several years ago, but we're all these companies are sort of arriving at the same conclusions around the same time. So I think it means actually it reaffirms our faith that we also made the right decisions and we're all moving in towards the same place.
Now it's arguable that you guys probably have the better looking MMO on the market as well. Well, not quite on the market yet, but it's a really polished looking game. What's going on behind the scenes in terms of graphics and the engine that you guys built and all that sort of stuff?
Well, the Dreamworld engine is the engine we've been using for several of our products, like Age of Conan and now The Secret World, and we've just been working on it for a long time. We have a really great render team who we're continually talking to guys like NVIDIA to make sure that our render engine is using the best possible technology. We have DX11 in the game, we have all the sort of new effects. It's I don't know. We're just continually working on it, and we have this sort of Age of Conan is like a very stable technology that we've been building upon. So it's easier to take these steps forward and sort of improve the rendering engine all the time. And the artists we have at FUNCOM, the amazing concept artists and amazing artists building really cool locations. So it's just it's kind of a dream place to work in that sense, and we have a lot of freedom with that as well.
Is there a bit of a lockout in terms of like system specs or anything like that? Because if you had a machine that was sort of 5 years old, would the game run very well? Or
the min spec that we've been talking about is an 8800,
which is what I've got. So that's good.
An 8800 and a dual core. That's the min spec for the game. You'll be running the game on relatively low settings at that point, but it'll run. Okay. And then going upwards from there, 2 gig of RAM I think is the baseline as well. So
most people are probably upgraded for Battlefield 3 anyway. So.
That's what we consider to be roughly a 5-year-old spec actually.
Right.
So yeah, a dual core is like a 5-year-old technology. It's kind of, so we think that everything should run that basically. Yeah.
Now you guys have in the short time that I played it, tons of dialogue, lots of cutscenes. Do you roughly know how much dialogue is in the game and how much, I guess, just of those story sequences there are?
I'm relatively certain. I can't say for sure, but I think it's around 500 unique cutscenes. With as we use motion capture and proper acting and stuff for it, it's quite a lot with voiceover. And yeah, I mean, we have all the incidental dialogue, which is a dialogue system where you can listen to things that they have to say. I have no idea how much recorded dialogue there is. It's a lot. It's
just pretty unique in the MMO space as well.
Yeah, well, there's certain other big games that just recently released with that, so it's not like it's completely unique, and I think it's the way forward. Most games are going to be doing that going forward, so I think it's a big push. But I think there's ways to do it relatively cheaply as well, and we've been pretty good at keeping our budget decent on that without going overboard.
So what happens once the game releases in June? Obviously, you'll be still grinding to make sure that everything is stable. But I mean, what's the content plans post-release?
Yeah, I'm not really supposed to talk about it, but we have plans. Ragnar has a storyline that we already know sort of everything through the first 4 expansions, if you want. So it's kind of like the storyline is planned out. We know where the players will be going in the world, where we want to take them, what locations we want to take up next, what PvP playfields we want to build. So we kind of have this big backlog of content that we want to make and put in the game. So I will be starting on that as soon as we feel like it's time to start on that. So yeah.
Age of Conan kind of suffered from like what people called the level 20 cap. Basically got to 20 and it was really fun, and then after that it just became nothing. Did you guys actively go into this knowing that, and like what did you do, I guess, to kind of circumvent that?
It's kind of my job. Being the lead content designer, it's my job to ensure an even level of quality throughout the game. So one of the things we did was we really focused on making sure that all the playfields had the equal amount of gameplay designer attention, which was something that on Conan, for example, we lacked. We had less people on the end game stuff than we had at the start for a little while. Now it's like very even. There's the same amount of designers on every area of the game. The same amount of dialogue spoken. Everything that sort of adds that polished feeling to the game is done. In Age of Conan, we made a deliberate decision to not have voiceover after level 20. I think that caused a huge disconnect in people's heads because they had this voiced area, and then they left and they lost all of that. In TSW, there's no change. You won't feel a quality change throughout the game. That's been the goal, especially for me as the content designer. So I've been following that up quality-wise. I play all the missions in the game. I understand, where things need to be tweaked up and try to make it to an even level of quality across the whole game.
Do you guys have a projection of what sort of server population you'd like to be hosting?
Well, we have really flexible technology. We have one server tech now, which you can think of as akin to what EVE Online has, where you can have everybody in the world on one server. Right. The only reason that we have what we call dimensions, which is the same thing as a server, the only reason we use dimensions now is because of the persistent PvP playfields that we have. So in that sense, we don't really have any population caps that we need to put on servers. We'll probably just the only way we'll cap it is if we see that the big PvP areas are filling up and people are complaining because they have to queue to get in and there's not enough space. So at that point we'll probably start capping off, but I don't really know what the numbers will be for that. That's sort of what we'll stress test as we go forward in the betas as well.
Okay, we'll leave it there because the game is basically coming out really, really soon. And yeah, it's awesome. I can't wait to get my hands on it and just get an Australian server up and running. Just do it. Yep. Come on, you know that it has to happen.
I completely agree, and we'll talk to the money men.
All right.
Cool.
Thanks, John.
Thank you very much.